My name is Claire and welcome to the Grace Hug. In case it's the first time you're seeing this video, I also have an Instagram page. This video is going to be about procedural anxiety, and it's particularly apt because I have a procedure myself tomorrow that I'm less than thrilled about. So I was hoping in this video to kind of talk about several things that help me prepare and settle my heart for these procedures, and also to take you guys along with me tomorrow as I go through the day and get through the procedure. So the procedure I'm having tomorrow is a hydrocortisone and local anesthetic steroid injection under CT imaging guidance. A rather deep hip needle. Ordinarily, joint injections wouldn't be too big a deal. I know lots of people get them regularly, but something about this particular joint, my left hip, which has been quite inflamed and angry, and also having had previous surgeries in that spot before, that makes these procedures particularly painful. So that's why I've been apprehensive about tomorrow's injection. I guess people would think that after really quite major surgeries that a simple joint injection shouldn't bother me much, but I guess medical trauma does play out in ways that sometimes we can't understand, and it definitely still does bother me. So for anyone who is also feeling anxious about an upcoming procedure, I just wanted to send you a virtual hug. It's okay that you're scared. It doesn't make you a baby or less than or less brave in any way. I feel that being brave sometimes is about doing things scared and overcoming anyway. So I have been telling myself that, and maybe that's for someone else too. You're probably stronger and braver than you think you are, friends, and you can do it. Let's do it together. I guess we'll start the real-time vlog of however this procedure plays out for me tomorrow. Before even getting to any procedure, what helps me is preparation. With any procedure comes some element of preparation, which would have started when you booked for your procedure, determining the right time of day or day of the week, or just kind of the logistics and paperwork and insurance and anything that needs to be sorted out before you even get to procedure time. With my procedure, I am pretty familiar with what is going to happen, but with other newer procedures I found it very helpful to actually do some research. Things like what to expect videos on YouTube have been so helpful for my own journey. I definitely do find it helpful as well to talk to the procedure staff or your doctor or surgeon ahead of time if there are any procedural sedation or pain relief options. So for me, unfortunately, for this procedure, we are actually using the injection and my pain response to it as a diagnostic tool before surgery, and then the couple days leading up to it, I make it a point to have a clean healing space ready for my return from the hospital. That is one way I can feel comfortable with my environment when I'm healing. I will also then pack the things that I need to take with me to the hospital: paperwork, insurance cards, so those really practical things, comforting things like comfortable sweater or jumper, distraction items like a stuffed animal, book or a game, or things like that. I'll make sure to have with me and all ready to go for the morning of. So it's about 11 p.m. at the moment, and I'm just getting ready for bed. My bag is all packed and ready for tomorrow. The next sort of little thing that really helped me with this procedure has been actually to compartmentalize, and this is something that one of my therapists actually suggested to me, to defer worrying and deferring the anxiety as best as you can. I booked this procedure appointment 2 weeks ago. It wasn't helping to be worrying for weeks on end and have it consume my whole mind. So what I did was just to think about pushing the worries until the day of, and to not think about it too much, and in place of that thinking, to think more about other activities or other people in particular. I'm still deferring a lot of the feelings until tomorrow, so we'll see how I go tomorrow, but I'm feeling pretty alright, and I'm thankful that I was able to compartmentalize, because I think it has saved me a lot of worry. I am headed now to the hospital. I have another appointment before my procedure, so we're gonna do that. I actually made a stop at one of the grocery shops here and picked up a couple of treats for myself for afterwards. A little lollipop and also a box of gobstoppers. And yeah, it's my next thing that sort of helps me with procedural anxiety, is to prepare something of a treat for myself. For previous surgeries and that, I've gotten myself a new game or book or even a craft pack for something fun to do and to look forward to as a celebration for getting through a big surgery. So I'm now at the hospital, and I just had my appointment scheduled for the same day as my procedure. It's actually really wonderful that this appointment just happened to be my routine ones with my psychologist. So I thought this might be a good little spot to talk about my fourth thing, I think, that seems to help me with procedural anxiety: to recall past victories. It sounds a little cheesy, but it has really helped me this time. I was quite nervous the day I booked my procedure, and in the couple days after that, until I kind of thought about the times when I had already been through something similar and got through it well. Even though it was scary at the time, I did get through it, and thinking that if I was able to do that once, then I have it in me to be able to do it again. And as a person of faith, remembering and trusting that the God who is with me through those moments will take care of me again and is with me again, has really helped to give me a sense of a bit more confidence. I was actually struggling a little bit. I did actually feel like I was slightly on the verge of tears, and I was just a little ball of nerves. So this was a good moment to start to apply some break strategies. These would be the next thing that helps me. These are called break strategies because, in the analogy of a car, you have the accelerator and the brake. In my rudimentary explanation and understanding, sometimes the accelerator or the sympathetic nervous system can go too high and too fast in that fight or flight mode, and so these strategies apply a little bit of a brake onto that system. I just want to say that I'm not a psychologist or counselor. These are strategies that I found personally helpful. I've been incredibly blessed to have met some really good therapists here at the hospital as I've gone through this extended chronic health journey. One of my favorite strategies is breathing. I know that there's lots of different breathing styles. The one that seems to be most effective for myself is to breathe with a longer exhalation to the inhalation. Calm breathing. Take a slow breath in through the nose, breathing into your lower belly for about 4 seconds. Hold your breath for 1 to 2 seconds, then exhale slowly through the mouth. As your breathing calms, you may choose to extend the exhale for 6 seconds. So the key here for me is to have a bigger out than in, and something about this seems to slow and calm my heart rate and system down. Another strategy that was recently taught to me is tapping. I was shown a couple of spots: back of your hand, your chin, temples, just slightly under the clavicle. These are just some of the spots that I remember. It does actually help me, and it does actually feel relaxing. And apparently the speed is just whatever feels right and feels good to me. Imagery is the next one. I was instructed to identify a memory of a time when I felt at peace or comfortable and relaxed. The idea is to delve into that imagery, into that image with 5 senses: what I can see in that image, feel, hear, smell, taste. It does seem to work for me. Even just talking about this memory makes me happy and relaxed. Soft, calming or ambient music. Hum or sing. Humming, I've heard, helps to stimulate the vagus nerve. It's about 2:24 now, and my procedure's at 3, or I have to check in at 3, so I'm just gonna head to the bathroom and then kind of slowly make my way. I'm just in the hospital cafeteria. A few minutes left to go until I have to check in. The feelings of nerves are definitely approaching their peak. What I'm planning to do for this procedure as well is to self-advocate a little bit. I'm going to ask them if they can inject it a little slower. I'll never forget the power of speaking up. The very first time I had surgery, it was a really rushed and harried experience, and I guess I just let it happen to me. And so the next time around, my second surgery, one of my therapists actually coached me to ask if they could let me know what was going to happen next, and that made a huge difference. Learning to self-advocate is a continued learning journey for me, but it has made the biggest difference with my experience of healthcare. So I'm just in the waiting room now, getting ready. Oops, it looks like I'm having a bit of an allergic reaction. It's done though. Hi everyone, it's the next day now. Yesterday I had a slight reaction, and when I got home I did have quite a cortisone flare and was in quite a bit of pain, but I'm feeling better. I wanted to come on here and update how it went and close out the video. The experience this time, I am so glad to report, was a better experience. I was so thankful to have an interventional radiologist and a nurse that were really kind. They were both very on board with any suggestions or requests I had that would help to make the experience easier for me, which I appreciated so much. There were actually 3 things in the injection experience specifically that really helped me this time. The first thing was definitely the advocating for myself through polite requests, asking them whether they could slow down the rate of injection, particularly with the local anesthetic. This made the biggest difference with the amount of pain. Second thing was actually having a stress ball on hand. I just kind of squeezed it as hard as I could during the worst pains. Third thing that I actually asked them whether I could take in some music with me, and they said go for it. So I took in one earbud and I kept this one free so I could follow their instructions to me. All done for now, and I am so relieved. The final thing about things that help me with procedural anxiety, something that I've been alluding to, which is to visit a professional if you are approaching a really big procedure and struggling to manage what your preparation and feelings. I have visited both occupational therapy and psychology for procedural related anxiety. Both of those professionals were invaluable, particularly around some of the bigger surgeries that I've had. Occupational therapy was able to help me with something called a procedure plan, to plan ahead in terms of managing pre, during and post procedure. I had this when I had my osteotomy surgery, things that would help me to feel more comfortable and more calm. Professionals can be really helpful in giving you specific strategies that work best for you. Huge thank you to you all for coming along. If you got through a procedure too recently, a huge well done, friends. You made it, you did it. Feel free to check out my other YouTube videos. I'll link the last one up here about my experience after major orthopedic surgery in the high dependency unit. I wish you all the very best on your own journey. Bye!